Open City Council, Monday, February 26th. Roll call, Mr. Scott, Ms. Underwood,
Here.
Mr. Exley,
Here.
Mr. Blackwell.
Here.
Ms. Taylor,
Here.
Ms. Riley.
Here.
Mr. Exley, would you lead us in that invocation, please?
Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to serve. Lord, we ask you to be with our servicemen and women tonight and be with our officers and our fire. Lord, we also ask that you be with us tonight as we make decisions about the city of Rankin. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve our agenda for this evening.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Ms. Underwood to approve the agenda as presented. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
First item is the approval of our council minutes of the meeting of February the 12th, 2024. I did have some grammatical corrections which I've given to Ms. King. And then on item 21, the motion to follow statutes, I had, and if anybody has anything different, the minutes reflect Mr. Blackwell making the motion and Mr. Scott making the second. But I had Ms. Taylor on the motion and Mr. Exley on the second. Did any have anything different?
I had Blackwell and Scott, but I don't have the
Okay.
laptop with me.
Okay. That's what your notes reflected?
No, I remember that because that was,
Yeah,
when
I
I
said
walked
it.
over there, she said it.
Yeah.
She said it, and that's why I said, maybe he didn't hear you from down there, but he put it on.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the minutes are correct?
What you got is correct.
Your correction is correct.
Oh, okay.
She heard me and you heard them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I
it was
don't hear
Taylor
very
and
well at
who?
home either, according to my wife.
Taylor and Exley. Thank you.
Okay, you got that, Ms. King?
Yeah, so what item number was that?
That's 21.
Thank you.
And then on item 22, and I verified that with our attorney today because I thought maybe I might have written it down wrong. But that amount on that item 22 should be $58,558.16. Now, also a couple of items that our city attorney caught. Good catch, Mr. Attorney, you're earning your money. On number 16, the motion should read, a motion was made to approve termination of the drainage easement. And then just a little further down on the motion, under the estoppels, the motion should read, a motion was made to approve Coal Summit Development estoppels. Did anyone else have anything as far as changes or corrections?
I had on item number 14, when we adopt the Rankin policies and procedures, one of the accepted felonies after 10 years and no other things is amended to scratch attempted murder.
That's correct.
Because that was not noted on here.
Okay. Ms. King, you got that?
Uh-huh.
Any other changes or corrections? All right, if there are no others, I would entertain a motion to approve with the changes.
Motion to approve with the changes.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Exley, a second by Ms. Riley to approve the council minutes of the meeting of February the 12th, 2024, with the noted changes and corrections. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell? Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
All right, as we get into our business items, agenda items, if you are here to speak in regards to a particular item on the agenda, you'll have the opportunity to speak when that item comes up. If you would, come to the podium and state your name for the record, and then you'll have an opportunity to address that item. With that now, we'll move into our public hearings, and I'll turn our meeting over to our public hearing officer, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. First item on the agenda is the public hearing for the 2024 comprehensive plan update to brief the community on the process used to update the comprehensive plan, opportunities for public participation in the update of the plan, and obtain input on the proposed planning process.
Hi, I've got Megan here with the CRC. She's gonna talk to y'all a little bit about what y'all and the public about what this entails.
Good evening. My name is Megan Jones. I'm the planning manager with the Coastal Regional Commission, and we are going to be assisting the city with updating the 2024 comprehensive plan. The biggest change between the 2019 and the 2024 plan is that there's not going to be a joint plan with the county anymore and the other communities within the county. So your plan will be separate and pulled out. It is still considered an update for the reason that you're still going to be on the same schedule as the county. So it's technically, we're going to pull as much language as we can, and we're going to use that and try to just get it in there and get you an updated plan, but it will be your own, and that will be due at the end of October, I believe. So that will be finished, everything will be wrapped up, sent into DCA and approved by the end of October. Do y'all have any questions about the plan or the process?
During the process, you'll be asking questions for us or Terry, or how does it work?
So typically what we do is we work with the city staff, and in this case we'll be holding some meetings with stakeholder committees. These stakeholders will be a representation of the community itself, and so they will come in and they will review certain items on the plan. So your character areas or your future land use, your work plan, a lot of the vision and goals will be reviewed by that stakeholder committee, and they will have a lot of input into how that plan is formed, and then the city will ultimately have the decision-making power as to how that plan is written up formally. And once they pull that together, then we'll submit to DCA. DCA will provide comments. There will be public comment periods throughout the plan as well, so that anyone from the community can come in. The stakeholder committee meetings are also open to the public, so they can come in and make comments at that time too.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And this is a hearing on the comprehensive plan. I know it's early in the process, but any member of the public want to speak for or against, or provide comments or any input regarding this process? Again, you'll have additional opportunities, but this will be your first one, I think, to speak for or against, or to talk about or ask questions.
How do you find out about the additional opportunities?
I'm sorry, how do you find out?
Yeah, how do you find out about the additional opportunities? I mean, it says.
For the public participation, he said this is,
Oh.
the
I
public
got
participation,
this.
yeah.
Briefing the public.
Hey, sir, and state your name.
Anyway, Matt, it's a comprehensive plan update to brief the community on the process. What is the process with the, I don't try to figure it out. And opportunities for public participation. Where do you find out about those opportunities? Will it be in an agenda item, or is there a workshop, or, can I go to those things? That would be kind of cool to
Ms.
see.
Lewis, would you address Mr.
I can grab
You
that,
should just
Mr.
state
Mayor,
that,
so,
that they were open to the public.
they're gonna be open to the public.
Correct.
But how do you
When
find-
our app goes live in about 10 days, there's gonna be a section in there where you can take surveys, you get notified of the
Oh,
meetings,
cool.
it'll do push notifications as to when you when the meetings are to remind people so that everybody has that opportunity. We'll share them immediately on our social media.
That's awesome.
At that same time.
Where do you find out about the app?
Stick around to the end of the meeting.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions, comments about the comprehensive plan? All right, we'll call the hearing on item 1 of the public hearings to a close. And the next item is public hearing to review proposed changes to Chapter 90, Article 6, Section 90-180 of the Municipal Code to amend the language related to planned unit developments. Ms. Lewis, are you speaking about this?
Yes.
And I guess first question is, has it been advertised this has been advertised to the public?
Yes, Pat.
Tell us about it, please.
All right, so I think most of council is familiar with this. We are proposing to update section 90-180, the planned unit development section of the code. And if you read through, while there are a lot of strikeouts and underlines, you'll see we did maintain some of the language. We just relocated it. There are a few pretty significant changes. One is to reduce the acreage that you have to be part of a PUD, so reducing that down to 5. Larger was probably good way back when, but now that we have smaller parcels and that there are some benefits to being part of a PUD, the smaller acreage makes sense. The other part that we did was go ahead and develop a list of allowed uses and prohibited uses, trying to think of trying to be inclusive and also think of those items that maybe we hear that people don't necessarily want in the community or don't necessarily want more of. So that's what you see in the list of allowed uses and prohibited uses. It still provides flexibility for meeting setbacks and buffers and things like that, which is definitely what you want in a planned unit development. That's part of the beauty of being in one, is to have some flexibility with the design of it. So we've incorporated that in here as well. So I'm happy to answer any specific questions that y'all may have. Thank you.
Thank you for your work on that, Ms. Lewis.
All right, would anybody like to speak, and is there any member of the public like to speak in favor of this proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance, which would revise the current ordinance related to planned unit developments? Would anybody like to speak in opposition? Mr. Mayor, I call this hearing to a close.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins.
Sir.
All right, at this time, we're going to move into our consent agenda, and this is something we have not done before, but at the request of some of our council and discussion with our city manager, we have on the agenda tonight a consent agenda, which hopefully will present an opportunity to speed up our process a little bit, eliminate some duplication, and simplify the process some. Now, and Mr. Perkins, you guide me through if I state this wrong, but as a consent agenda, these items are items that are like second readings on items that have already been discussed, information's already been presented, and at this point would appear to need no further discussion. However, it can be moved to the regular agenda, if there is that request. But if not, then we would approve these 5 items in the consent agenda with one motion and 1 second. Is that right, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir, that's right. And if any member of council wants to pull an item from the consent agenda, that should be their right, Mr. Mayor.
Now, Mr. Smith, I know you were here at the last meeting.
Yes, sir.
And you had a comment. To the best of my recollection, I don't think you had any real concerns.
No, I don't,
Yeah.
because the attorney for Newington Bank, I had no problem with them joining my property and change it from general commercial to office commercial.
Okay. So you're good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that being said, if council members would like to move any of these items to the agenda, otherwise a motion would be in order to approve all of these consent item agendas.
So moved. I'll second.
I have a motion by Ms. Underwood, a second by Ms. Riley, to approve the 5 consent agenda items on the agenda. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exlin?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
Okay. Now moving to new business. Item number 1 is approval of amended and restated employment agreement for. Okay. I wouldn't have a problem. We have a request, Mr. Perkins, to move an item up because of our guest here.
Oh, absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay.
You know, you can make it formally, you can make it a motion to amend the agenda, if you wanna do that, but.
Okay. All right, so, I would, in order to be proper here, let's ask for a motion to amend the agenda to move item 11 to the first item.
I'll make a motion to move number 11 to the top of the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by actually a second by Mr. Blackwell to amend the agenda to move item 11 to the first item under new business. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
All right, that being said, item number 11, new business, is request approval of a resolution to adopt Bobcat Blue as the new official color for the city of Rankin. We've got wild animals in there. May not need a costume to be wild. All right, Ms. Underwood, would you like to speak to that item?
Yes, I would. As city council, we noticed that our brand new benches and trash cans on 21 was beautiful Bobcat blue. Thank you, Michelle Taylor. Y'all did a great job on that beautification. Did you know?
No,
Parker's?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, good
Oh.
job. But we were in Atlanta and we were talking about it being Bobcat blue, and we said we should adopt that and show some camaraderie with our kids and our school, because we're so proud of Rankin Elementary. So we'd like to read this resolution to you now. And it is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Rankin, Georgia, adopting Bobcat blue as the new official color for the City of Rankin. Whereas the City Council recognizes the importance of fostering civic pride and identity among its residents. Whereas the city is known for its rich cultural heritage, diverse population, and natural beauty. Whereas the Bobcat is a symbol of resilience, adaptability, and strength, qualities that resonate with the spirit of our community. Whereas the City Council of the City of Rankin takes pride in the only school situated within its municipal boundaries, namely our esteemed Rankin Elementary School Bobcats. Whereas the color blue symbolizes stability, harmony, and unity, values that are integral to the fabric of our city. Whereas the combination of these elements into Bobcat blue represents a unique and distinctive identity for our city. Whereas adopting Bobcat blue as the official city color will promote a sense of belonging and pride among residents and visitors alike, as well as sign of support for up-and-coming youth in our community. The City Council has carefully considered the options of colors and aesthetics for our city and find no better measure of ourselves than that of Bobcat blue that is truly the Rankin way. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Rankin hereby adopts Bobcat blue as the new official color of the City of Rankin, Georgia. And we're gonna ask now if our mayor will sign this. And then we're gonna make you all come get a picture.
Yeah, I want to put you with that.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if we have a motion yet, boys.
Oh, we got
Oh,
a
we've got a
motion.
motion? Yes.
You go ahead.
I wanna make a motion that we adopt this resolution.
I'll second.
There you go.
Have a motion by Ms. Underwood, a second by Ms. Taylor, to approve a resolution to adopt Bobcat blue as the new official color for the city of Rankin. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
All right. Do we need to copyright this or anything? Do we need any rights or?
We're gonna give this,
Yeah.
y'all wanna all come, let's get a picture with our Bobcat and our, Miss Hannah.
Well, I think it should have been
I wish I could tell you it was mine, but it's.
We're gonna get all the kids up here and stand.
Come on, Mayor. I didn't. I don't have kids in school. T-shirt.
Come on, guys, get in.
I had a random problem.
Y'all get in.
Get the tweet.
I'll get down here.
It's amazing.
I'll get over here with Kevin.
For what, Kevin? Yeah, there you go.
We'll talk about it later.
So they all have.
All right, we are now back to order, and the first item is new business. Item one is approval of amended and restated employment agreement for the city manager, Mr. Jonathan Lee.
Motion approved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Exley, a second by Ms. Underwood to approve the amended and restated employment agreement for city manager Jonathan Lee. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
Item number two, new business, is vote on the first reading of an ordinance to consider proposed amendments to chapter 90, article 6, section 90-180 of the municipal code to amend the language related to planned unit developments. Ms. Lewis, anything you need to add to?
No, nothing new.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Riley, a second by Mr. Blackwell, to approve first reading of an ordinance to consider proposed amendments to chapter 90, article 6, section 90-180 of the municipal code to amend the language to, related to planned unit developments. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
Item number three, APAC Atlantic Incorporated request approval of change order number one in the amount of $33,189.20 for additional work performed on the 2023 Rankin LMIG project, line item number 320-4100, 541417.
And while Doug's coming up, Mr. Mayor, some people may question, this is the expense item that was not under the consent agenda, because typically with something like that, just for clarification, it is a change order to an existing contract, so it may require further discussion, so those would not typically be on a consent agenda going forward, so. Sorry, Doug, I stole your
No,
thunder,
that's fine.
you're right.
That's fine, very, very understandable. But no, like, Mr. Mayor, Doug Morgan, EMC Engineering, this was the change order that was suggested, I guess, by Kim and Mr. Lynn, to pave all the driveways from the new paved road on Mottweiler to the right-of-way line, where most people had a concrete pad or something. We just didn't wanna have these wet mud holes in between a good driveway and your brand new road. So we had a price from the contractor, and his, price was $30,590. But, while he was out there doing it, there was one, cause if you've been down Mottweiler, it's kinda funny on the ends, there was one he missed. so that's why it's 33,189.20. It's strictly a unit-based price, based on the 4 inches of asphalt they put in for all the driveways.
So the original 30,000 was already approved?
No, that was, we had him go out and give us an estimate, and I gave it to them.
And the final number came in a little
And
bit
when he
lower.
went out there was one on the end that, because everything was dirt, and you didn't know where the road ended and where the driveway, but there was one that, to a house at the end, and he paved it as well. So the original estimate was, 161 units, or square yards, and it ended up being like 174 square yards. That's all. He missed one driveway, but they're all paved.
What was the exact number of driveways? We got the units, but.
Well, they're all different. Some of them are different things. He went out and measured them all, but, I wanna think it was.
Like a dozen or
12
something?
It was 12 or 14.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense though.
Any questions for Mr. Morgan? If not, a motion would be in order.
Motion approved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Exley, a second by Mr. Blackwell to approve APAC Atlantic Incorporated change order number 1 in the amount of $33,189.20 for additional work performed on the 2023 Rankin Elevator. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the project's 100% complete. And everything.
Thank you, sir. Item number 4, request approval to purchase 3 Chevrolet PPV Tahoes from Hardy Chevrolet in the amount of $151,400.97 from line item number 320-3200, 542528. Chief?
Mayor and council, good evening. This is a continuance of our maintenance to our fleet yearly, kind of keeping it up so we don't get in a position like we were years ago with kind of 8 or 9 of them dying at one time, having to replace a whole lot of them at one time. So our goal is to do 3 to 4 per year. This is our 3 this year. One of which is intended for K-9. The other 2 are intended for patrol. This is Hardy Chevrolet is a state contract dealer. You get the state contract number there at the bottom of their, what they call a cut sheet. And you'll see the options that I selected on there is pretty basic. 2-wheel drive is actually a discount, of course, 2,620. It's got inoperable door handles for the back, 4 extra key fobs, and then just $150 delivery for Tahoe. So instead of us having to drive to Dallas, Georgia and take
Are these
total
part of
4
the
people.
approved budget?
I'm sorry?
Are these part of the approved budget?
Yes, ma'am.
They are SPLOST, it is a SPLOST budget item.
Yeah.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Exley, a second by Mr. Riley, Ms. Riley, excuse me, to approve purchase 3 Chevrolet PPV Tahoes from Hardy Chevrolet in the amount of $151,497. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 5, vote on the first reading of an ordinance to consider proposed amendment for the city of Rankin ordinances, specifically creation of 38-5 penalties for false alarms.
I'm gonna ask both chiefs to come back up for this one. I don't know if Chief Merle realized that was the next item.
Alarm ordinance.
False alarms.
So the one that was, sorry about that, the one that was, given to you guys was the draft, correct?
Mhm.
I think it's kind of a,
We got proposed false alarm ordinance, new section.
Penalties for false alarm. Yeah, the penalties for false alarm, the one we all emailed. about.
yes. I think that's the original one that we, put forward, I don't know, before Mr. Lynn was here, probably 2 or 3 years ago.
And it has been reviewed and tweaked a bit by Mr. Perkins and Mr. Mullins. They've done some legal review on it. And I think, Mr. Perkins is gonna tweak it just a little bit in terms of its format to put in the Municode for, prior to the second reading. But the substance of it is what it is, you know, these guys get called out a lot for false alarms, and people need to be, you know, respectful of that and understand that after a certain threshold, you know, it's important to make sure that it's not a false alarm.
Are
Are we currently charging any fees?
No,
We don't have anything in place.
we don't have anything in place
For residential or commercial.
for residential and
This,
commercial.
this kind of all started over 2 years ago, I guess,
Yes, sir.
our initial discussion, and, based on the reports that you were giving us, we were seeing that there were a number of these, and so we asked for something, and I think this is it. Now, when we first started talking about it, it was really kind of in relation to business calls, but you've incorporated residential, which I think is good. I mean, because
Our
there can be
residential-
residences that are offenders, if you want to call them that, or
I agree with you. I would classify a residential, an offender after they've been informed that they're having false alarms and creating response from us multiple times, and then they refuse to have the alarm company come out and fix it.
Correct.
So,
Our residential numbers are up on the fire side versus the commercial side.
same with us. So,
Well, I do know that years ago, y'all were brought to our office, cause the battery was going dead and it was setting it off.
Right.
So we make sure that doesn't happen again.
Changes
We
smoke
replace
detector.
our batteries regularly.
but I'm good with the business and residential. I think that's,
Okay.
And you give them, by this document, we have 3 warnings before they even get charged.
Yes,
correct.
Which is good too, they got.
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I meant when we have multiple notices. Hey, you have an alarm issue, you need to get your alarm company to come out and look at it. And that's where the breakdown's been in the past, so at least now we have some teeth in it to convince people to call their alarm company.
Correct.
So do you have a lot of people that just continually let you respond and do not do anything?
No, I don't say we have a lot of people that knowingly have a problem and don't contact their alarm company, but the handful that we do have, I would say easily 6 to 8 times a week.
Yes.
A week?
A week.
Wow.
And that's a significant strain on resources, because for the
yeah.
police department, they're not responding alone, because they don't know
Right.
they don't know what they're going to.
And
So
we
they-
can't just say, well, we went to that thing 5 times already this week, we're not going this time because this time might be real, so
so
we
is
have
it,
to write.
is it a residence error, or is it something wrong with the system? I ask that because have you been able to establish if there is a
Both.
particular system from a particular company that you have more response to than
No,
others?
sir. A lot of times you'll see the older systems that need probably to be completely replaced. Those will be the ones that get a little water in a line outside or something like that, it causes an alarm to go off, so. Or people with, the door sensors and their door jams over time, the weather stripping wears out, so you get some play in the door, the wind blows and it'll set alarm off, things like that.
I think this is good, I think it's.
I would suggest,
911 calls too?
So,
That could do 911 false calls too?
I don't think that's included.
I would suggest having a printout of something, so when you go, you give it to them,
mhm.
and, 3 strikes, you're out.
I would probably do door hangers, and every time we
Oh, okay.
provide a call,
There we go.
we'll leave a door hanger.
That's a good idea.
And it'll have the information, it'll have the ordinance, it'll have the fine breakdown and what you need to do to correct it.
Yeah.
Could
Good idea.
I suggest be like Amazon and take a picture of it hanging on the door?
I make a motion to approve.
We could do something like that, if nothing else. we can
Second,
pull-
yeah.
It's gonna be logged in dispatch anyway. Dispatch will have a permanent record of it, of a door hanger being left.
I have a motion by Ms. Riley, a second by Mr. Blackwell to approve first reading of an ordinance to consider proposed amendment to the City of Lincoln ordinances, specifically creation of a 38.5 penalties for false alarms. Now, Mr. Lynn, this is an example of, for the second reading, what would be on the consent agenda. in the future, is that right?
Yes, sir, that's correct, because I didn't, you know, if there would have been some dissension or additional
Mhm.
documentation that needed to come back, it probably would not be, but
Yeah.
from what we hear, you know, everybody's on board with it,
Yeah.
the tweaks that the attorney make would not be
Yeah.
anything to the substance of it, so it would go to second reading
just
under consent, yes, sir.
Ask that for explanation for everybody in the room.
Yes, sir.
So that this is new to us, so I want everybody to understand what we're doing, so I just wanted to lay out an example. of that.
That's exactly right, yes,
Real
sir.
quick, I'm getting a question about what the fine amount and the tiers are.
Mhm.
It's 100, 200,
And 300. So
300.
no fee for the first three, and then the fourth, fifth, and sixth, $100, seventh, eighth, and ninth, $200, 10 or more, $300 each of them.
For a year or for individual?
Over the
It says
years.
it does say per 12-month period. So I guess it does reset after 12 months.
It should be 12 months from the date of the initial, not.
Mm.
It says with the 12-month period, it does say per year, yes.
Right, not January 1 to December 31st.
Right.
That's correct.
That's where we.
All right, any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exler?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
Thank you,
Mayor. Thank you.
Item number 6, new business, approve updates to the council general policies, parts 15 and 18B, to authorize city manager's spending limit increase to $20,000.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, from the last meeting, I was asked to put this on the agenda, so bullet points 15 and 18, under the council general policies, take that limit from $5,000 to $20,000 for budgeted expenses, so items within the budget. And then parts 18 just ups the credit card limit to that same amount, because it would almost be counterintuitive to not have that limit at the spending amount. So those are the changes in this to adopt the revised council policies.
So we did talk about it briefly in the last council meeting, and we talked about, cities of our size, don't typically own a golf course, and the cost of one police radio is almost $8,000, and Jonathan's spending limit doesn't even allow him to outfit a police properly. And that's why we propose to increase that limit.
So part 18, the credit card charge, that's the limit for the month, or for the.
Per item.
Per expenditure.
Per expenditure, typically, I mean, we could go in and
Because I
pay
think
that
they-
20,000 off if we needed to, but there would be no single purchase regardless, credit card or invoice that would go over $20,000 before it came to y'all. After that, it comes to you guys, so.
And he will inform us.
Yeah, all this is an email
Yeah.
attached.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just to move things faster, that's
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Ms. Riley, to approve updates to the council general policies, parts 15 and 18B, to authorize city manager spending limits increase to $20,000. Any other question or discussion?
Yes, I would like to see a spreadsheet on these, since it's new, see that it's not overly used, I guess, or whatever the case may be. So we know that those charges are appropriate. The 20,000 on the credit card or
That's just for like.
the expenditures. Just a spreadsheet, just saying, on this date, we spent 15,000 on radios that all of a sudden went out for the police department or something.
Absolutely.
Something like that. That's all. I'm asking.
That's easy
And the
enough, yes, sir.
amounts.
Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exler?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
Item number 7, new business, first reading of an ordinance 2-205, competitive bidding required, that increases threshold for bid requirements to $100,000.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, this was asked again, so just to clarify, and that's what it is now. Anything between 20,000 and above has to get bid out now. This takes it to $100,000, which is notated in there. OCGA 50-5-67 is a $100,000 threshold according to state procurement guidelines before you have to do a formal RFP. So anything over 20,000 would still come to you guys for approval, and we would still solicit quotes or estimates from people for those expenses, but we would speed it up by not having to go through the formal bid process. And then it comes to you guys for that. as well, so that's what that is in there, as well as there's a part at the end that talked about that $5,000 limit as well that we just fixed, so that it does amend that as well to take that to items of $20,000 or less shall be based on quotations in writing or telephone.
So we talked about this at the last council meeting as well. I think that there is room here to talk about that $100,000 number, if anyone's not comfortable with that. That is what the current state guideline is.
That's the
But
state
again-
guideline for municipalities.
It is, absolutely. And then.
For what size municipality?
That's the state guideline for all of Georgia. It's not based off of size.
So if we had a municipality of 100 people, it had a budget of 300,000.
They could potentially do
this.
that because it's within the state guideline. They could, yes.
So-
That doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for Lincoln. It's a proposed number at this point, open for discussion. The dollar amount from 20,000 to getting up to the 100,000, all of that is to come before council to be voted on. So it's not changing that, it's just getting us from the formal competitive bid process. That's what we're looking to do, to speed some things up.
Yeah, because a lot of the times, by the time you get something approved, and then those people turn around and they're able to do the job, now the price has gone up, different things happen, and then you gotta go back to the drawing board, or they've started another job. I think this speeds things up. It's not, I don't feel like it's taking any control away. What I think it's doing is forcing us to speed up as well. So I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean,
A prime example from staff level would be the bathrooms at Macomber Park. We bid that project out 2 times, and because it was such a small amount of work, we could never get a response in it, so we had to switch to the quotation to get people to come out and give us quotes on that. So that allows that to happen as well without that formal bid process, because that took up about 60 days for solicitation to do
Right.
that, when we could have been that far along
'Cause y'all
by
were
just
trying
waiting
to-
2 weeks and coming to you guys. for
this was
approval.
before the end of the year.
Yeah, well,
last
Macomber,
year.
they've been trying to get Macomber Parks $30,000 for bathrooms for 6-7 months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we kept getting held up, and that's ridiculous. I mean, we can't inhibit the movement and the business of the city like this.
How many projects do we have that besides LMIG projects usually that are over 100,000?
I'm glad Doug's here. Usually, I mean,
Or
it's.
under 100,000, let's put it that way.
We have a
Better
significant amount of stuff that's between that threshold.
Yeah.
that
20
we
and
could speed
100.
up and, anything from a pump that would get messed up where we have to order a part, or an emergency from the fire department that would have to come to you guys, or chiefs, a couple of meetings ago, or maybe last meeting, they needed to get the new weapons ordered. That's all within that would allow us to continue not doing that, but then concrete work, sidewalk work, depending on patching and stuff, wouldn't have to go out to bid for
Fixing the
that threshold.
library, different
We
things.
would still wanna be competitive and ask for several prices on those things, but it allows us to get those prices in and come straight to you guys for approval without having to do that formal process, with no guarantee of even getting a response. And I'll look at Doug, I'm pretty sure that, they're not seeing responses for anything that's probably less than $100,000, very competitively these days because of the market, because of what we're looking at, so.
Well, even with the getting quotes for the golf course to be painted, I mean, that was a joke, to get people to come.
Well, we're not doing away with the bid process, we're just making it less restrictive.
Right.
We're still gonna get the bids, correct?
Yeah.
Quotes.
We get
We'll
get
still get
quotes, yes,
quotes.
that's correct.
We'll
And
send
who
you
will
3
decide
quotes.
on you can say if you only got 2 quotes and they were under the 100,000, who would decide on who?
Typically, I would yield toward, if it's the fire department, I'd say Lou say this is the one we need, or Tim say this is the
They'd make
one we
a
need to go with.
recommendation
That's correct, and then we'll come to you guys. That
And then it
will
would
come to you
still
guys.
come before council.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
What's the difference between the competitive bidding process and the process that you're talking about where you just get quotes, multiple quotes?
So for quotes, I could call 3 plumbers that we know that could come in and give me 3 prices based on the scope of work I hand them. A formal bid process has to go in the newspaper. If it's over $100,000, the state requires it to be listed on the state procurement registry. It has to be posted for so many days. It comes in, you score them, there's a lot, it's a lot more
There's a
detail
lot
and a
more
lot more.
to it than.
And that's why that's the $100,000.
And then, if you say we'll still get competitive quotes,
Mhm.
what's to stop you from not getting them and just picking one contractor? I mean, when you say
think this
you'll get them,
council-
but, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this counts.
This council is what's.
It
still has-
Oh, okay, so you
Yeah,
still
Like
get to
that's-
see
They
the
still
They
have
still
three,
come, they
okay.
still, yeah, they still come here,
Yeah.
they get everything that we get, like here are the quotes we have, here's who we recommend to.
Yeah,
go with.
but you know, to the point, we had a sealed bid situation with $30,000 worth of repairs to the bathroom.
Right.
We had nobody bid it. The only person that bid it incorrectly through an email. So
Right.
therefore, that was, I mean, it was 5 or 6 months and we still didn't get it done. So this would be able to allow him, let's just say 20 days into it, he's only got one person that's quoted us, nobody else wants to quote us on it. Bring it here and let's go ahead and get it done.
My only concern with bringing it up was, you know, when you're doing, I just put windows in a house, I called Lowe's, I called a bunch of different people, they all showed up, they gave me, there they were, and I got to decide.
Mhm.
But I was just making sure that you guys still get to decide.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean?
Right.
So-
Absolutely.
Thanks.
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
Have a motion by Ms. Underwood, a second by Ms. Riley, to approve first reading of an ordinance 2-205, competitive bidding required, that increases the threshold for bid requirements to $100,000. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Riley?
Yes.
Item number 8, new business, request approval of revisions to the Rankin Golf Course rate for cart fees to be effective March 1st, 2024.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Christine can come on up, but, as you all know, we got our new carts, late last year, and we have not adjusted the cart fees, to accommodate for the increase in cost for the golf carts to replace the fleet. So what we're asking council is just to approve that increase from $19 for a cart fee to $25. No recommendation for raising any round rates at this time, it's just the increase for the cart fees to cover our expense for that, that's all that we're asking for at this point.
Did we check to see what rates are in other courses around us?
Yes, sir. It's very competitive with it's already out there. And like you said, our 18-hole rate would go from 19 to 25. Our 9-hole rate would go from 11 to 19. We're not asking for a substantial increase, just enough to make up the difference.
Yeah, and I think that falls in line with, you know, everything we've said. We've decided that we, you know, until the golf course is in the condition that we want it to be, we're not gonna increase that rate.
That's correct.
So right now, we give you a Mercedes-Benz to drive on it, so that's what you got.
Yes.
And then hopefully we'll get the course to Augusta, and then we can have a Mercedes-Benz in Augusta.
What do you think about that, Joe? We're gonna get it to
I don't know
Augusta?
about Augusta.
But yes, sir, that's.
But right now, we got Augusta carts.
We'll
That's
take
the
the
intention.
heritage, that's okay.
That's the intention, sir.
Set the bar a little high, Joe?
A little high. Josh looks like he's thinking.
So, but yeah, then just, round rates, if you bring your own card out, round rates aren't changing, they'll, you know, if you have your own card, it's just if you could pay a cart fee to us, that's what changes.
Right.
Joshua Gracia. Now, how, I guess my understanding, there is grandfathered in members technically still, I believe, at the course. How is that gonna affect them? That has their own personal cards, or if they use one of their cards?
Right now, if they're logged into a membership plan that they pay a cart fee, that fee is going to stay the same. If their membership doesn't include a cart fee and they bring their own cart, they don't see any change.
Okay.
They see,
So
they
make
see.
sure that the guys that are there and continuous still to be there don't get affected by something, especially when they're not utilizing those.
Nope, that's why I said,
Yeah.
no round rate increases, which, that's a good point, there's no increases to
That's
the
it.
pass holder or member rates at this point. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
And we are asking for that to be effective March 1st, which would be, Friday.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Mr. Exley, to approve revision to the Rankin Golf Course rate for cart fees to be effective March 1st, 2024. And that would be $25 for 18 holes and $19 for 9.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Item number 9, request approval and signature on an estoppel for Georgia International Rail Company.
Mr. Mayor, you'll recall from last time we approved a estoppel for Cold Summit, and so this is essentially the same thing in a much more simple form. The city is certifying that it's not aware of any defaults by Greenland, J&W, Trammell Crow, or CTC, which I think is an affiliate of Trammell Crow. Under the development agreement, that would impact the development of the phase of the development that Trammell or CTC is acquiring, and then also that we're not aware of any event of default under the development agreement with respect to any other property subject to the development agreement that would negate or diminish any rights of that CTC entity if they acquire it. This document's requested by the lender, and I've spoken with counsel for Greenland. I've also studied the development agreement thoroughly, and I recommend it for approval.
Any questions from council? If not, a motion would be in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Blackwell, a second by Mr. Exley to approve the signature of an estoppel for Georgia International Rail Company. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Item number 10, new business, is request approval to amend the personnel policy, section 65.19, to add Good Friday as the city of Lincoln holiday.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, this was a request that came through in an email to look at our holiday schedule. And our holiday schedule is included in policy 65 of our personnel manual. So what you all have with you tonight as an attachment is, as you can see, it's in red, it's redlined, to add Good Friday as a holiday this year. I know we had some discussions about looking at getting consistent and having President's Day as a holiday, but that's already passed. So we wanted to look at getting at the request of council to get Good Friday in as a holiday, as most of the other governments around here have that as a holiday. It is also a state holiday that day. They just refer to it as state holiday. They don't call it Good Friday, but I don't know that we needed to put the word state holiday in our policy as a day off for the employees.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Exley, a second by Ms. Riley to approve to amend the personnel policy, section 65.19, to add Good Friday as the city of Lincoln holiday. And I would say, most of the time, we can look at all the various entities, and the wrong one to look at is the federal government, but I think if we can, most of the time, mirror the state, as far as things like this, holidays, I think we're usually in a pretty good position, so, but, all right. Any other question or discussion? Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
All right, we are now to administrative reports, and Mr. Lynn.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. A couple things tonight before I hop up to the board. Would like to say that people that were out at the ballpark this weekend, the bathrooms on the old side, as it's referred to at Montgomery Park, those bathrooms are open, so people are able to use them over the weekend. So we're in good shape there, and we'll continue doing what we need to do there to finish out Montgomery Park. Appreciate everyone that chipped in, from Ms. Riley helping us to make sure we're able to cook properly and getting it looking good. So just it's moving forward. I did send you all prices before the meeting. I got them in latter part of the work afternoon from Doug. We did get prices in on the sidewalks that you guys requested for St. Andrews and then down Willowpeg to the golf course. So you guys have those to look at. If you take a look at them, we can communicate by email on them. Not ready for discussion. Just wanted to remind everyone to check their email. I will announce, and I told Mr. Spaccarelli as well that I would talk about it. We are having the quote-unquote marketing call tomorrow with GoGov, the developers of our Citizen Central app. So the goal is to go live with that within about 10 days from tomorrow. Staff received 2 days of training on it last week. Everyone seemed to be pretty impressed with what we were doing and the ease of getting that information. So once we have two pods essentially within that app. One is going to be, going in and making a complaint from pothole to cars to trees to water outage, open records request, and the other one is going to be the notification system. So the minute you download the app, you give consent to do the push notifications, whether it's, hey, we have a city council meeting tonight at 7, or we have a P&Z meeting tonight at 6:30, or hey, water's off, Tim's guys are over there working on this, or fireworks thing, or reminder about the fair, or heaven forbid we have some sort of weather catastrophe. There will be certain people that are able to log in there and send out a quick notice. It automatically puts it on our Facebook page and any social media page we link to it at the same time. So it gets that word out to everyone quicker. I believe that there's also an email component. If you sign up to receive the email, you would also get an email notification for that request as well as we move forward. So that being said, I'm gonna, yes, sir.
I have a question for you. I just, of course we had, it was our first big weekend. What I wanted to ask is about our rec desk. Is that set up? Do we have that out there? And I guess by saying that, what I would like to see, I know it normally takes a little bit of time to get something together. I know rec desk is supposed to be kind of spot on when it comes to dollar amounts, but it would be nice to be able to see sometime during the week after we have one of those events, how we finished. A grade, hey, if we spent X amount of dollars on food, or if we used X amount of dollars, how much did we make? Just a quick report. And I think Rec Desk does some of that for us, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to make sure that she has those resources, and if we have that, then what do we got to do?
Yes, sir. I think that'll be part of Rec Desk, but we have Square right now, so we actually can get those numbers.
So you have that.
I have those numbers for the weekend as well.
And you just add cash to it.
It tracks cash. We use that same system for the rodeo, where you can track everything from, like, if it's cash, if it's card, even advanced ticket sales. I don't know why you would need those for some of the tournaments, but you have that ability, and I get an email. Aaron gets an email. Shannon will get an email at the end of every night. Like, here's what you did at concession stand 1. Or here's what you did at 2. So we have that now. If we can incorporate that into one system and not have a separate system like Square, because Rec Desk is going to be used for a lot of other things, that's going to be amazing. But I need to check on that.
Yeah, and there is a huge need for that advanced ticket person, because there'll be sometimes whenever we accept money for tournaments where people come in, we charge gate. Should be. And so when we charge gate on some of those things, if somebody can go ahead and order a ticket and have it on their phone, it works great.
We can definitely do that. That's actually fairly easy to set up.
Yeah.
I know when I talked to Shannon about Rec Desk, it'll do just about everything she needs done within a recreation department. And so I'm like Kevin, we really need to make sure we're getting that and getting it online for her. I know there's a big issue with Wi-Fi over there. And I know we've talked about that. We need to see what we can do to get them updated. Right now, their phone systems is antiquated. They can't even buzz another desk. They have to get up and go to the other office. I mean, we need to kind of get them into 2024. And you're aware of that. I'm just making it public knowledge now. So anything we can do to assist her in succeeding and setting her up for success, we need to do from our side too.
All right, so let me hop up to the.
How was the
What's your
overall?
say your name, sir?
Oh, my name's Tim Miller.
You're gonna make it. I know. It's tough.
Tim Miller. I drove by the McCumber Park and I was amazed by the amount of vehicles that were there.
Yeah.
How was the overall weekend?
Good.
Everything go good?
It was definitely good having people back out at the park.
Yeah, it was nice going by and seeing. I mean, it was packed.
It was packed. I would like to add, because I know she's not here tonight, that I did speak to the tournament director, and we had people from as far away as Macon and Blackshear and 2 other states come here. So just so you know, there's nothing else we do that brings people into the city of Rankin, and there was probably several thousand people at that ballpark.
Oh, there was, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
So, you know, it brings in a lot of business to our restaurants, our gas stations. It's a good thing. So, I mean, it's a benefit to the city, but I was amazed at how far people were traveling to come to Rankin. So,
Keep it going.
Yeah, I definitely think we will be able to build off this past weekend.
Yes.
And get people out, back out to the ballpark.
Absolutely.
Alright, y'all good? All right. So just got a couple updates here. Obviously, that's not my handwriting on all of this. The quick updates, ticket fences, we have the meeting tomorrow, with the IDA and representatives, not so much from Bro, but from Omnitrax. So we hope that will be our final meeting, and we can move this forward and get going. City attorney, sorry Ben, it's out for RFP right now, so we're waiting on responses, going forward. UDO update, Terry shared an email with you guys last week, about a joint meeting with the planning and zoning board and you guys. So that's coming up, I think that's the 18th. That's 7, I apologize. So at Patriot Park, the park itself, the playground is ready to be open, but it is not open yet. We are still trying to work through getting access to the ADA parking spots that have been completed and the sidewalk that now connects the parking lot at the tennis courts to the park. So once we figure that out and get that done, hopefully we're within 2 weeks of getting that open now and getting a couple other little things done, taken care of out there.
Jonathan, real quick on that. We are still gonna do like a grand opening there.
I would love a ribbon cutting with some hamburgers and hot dogs for the kids, and
Yeah,
have all of you
I
guys
think
out
that
there
would be
to
neat,
do
too.
that. It's coming up, May will be a year, since we broke ground on that project, so it's about time. So absolutely, there will be a formality to it.
and Jonathan, you guys are gonna put a plan in place to block off people from not being able to get into that field where they'll bog down. We'll block off.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know what kind of material we will use to make sure it'll just be a one-way to the handicap spots. That entire field will not be open for parking at this point, so that people don't get bogged down. We're still trying to figure out, what material that's gonna be, crush and run or gravel or something, just something that people are not gonna get bogged down in. But something that's also not permanent in nature, so that when there's a larger plan done for Patriot Park, it's not cost prohibitive to have to tear something up and put something back down.
There is a small area at Patriots Park they can park in, and of course, the tennis courts they can park in.
Yes, ma'am. I think there is adequate parking over there.
Okay.
And the sidewalk's great, so, I mean, some people may wanna park, is there handicap parking at the tennis court parking area?
There is, some people have knocked the signs down, but there is handicap parking.
So we could get those lines repainted, get that, so if somebody needed to park down there and walk up with a wheelchair, you could
It
go
is
to the
ADA
sidewalk.
accessible from the tennis courts to the park, as well as the ADA parking spots at the park.
Perfect.
Well, I'm talking about tennis courts, just a little good news, I guess, in relation to those. One of our citizen advocates for tennis in our city, he's very vocal and he really cares about it. He called me all excited the other day. He said there were like 60 kids out there playing tennis, and he was excited, and he was glad to see that.
Yes, sir.
And so it's getting used, getting seen, so it's a good thing.
And that being said, it's not up here. They did come back out and finish the striping. Some of the striping had come off when they did that, so they came out, tweaked those things, and I have not heard anything else about them deteriorating at this point. So I think that they got in when the weather was good and they were able to cure themselves. And
So we don't have anything on our list that needs to be done?
No, sir, they are good. At this point, they are done on
And
that.
how do
The
the lights
lighting?
work out there? Yeah.
The
Out
lighting
there.
was fixed.
They have had to order the lights. Shannon and her team have ordered the lights.
For the tennis court?
That's correct. There was
So
some issues.
how will they work whenever, will they be on a timer?
She is going to have them connected to Musco.
Okay.
She said and this is coming from Shannon, outside of my Parks and Rec purview.
Right.
Any lights can be connected to our Musco system. There's just a box that they put in it. that
So
allows them to go into the
if we
system.
wanted to go out there at 9 o'clock and play, is there a certain time that's set to close down where you couldn't have lights out there?
Right now, you can just go out there and turn them on for increments, but we will probably have a set time that they will go off every night and it will shut down. So
Okay.
I don't know what that time is at this time, at this point.
Awesome.
So, Willow Peg sidewalks, I'll let Doug kind of chime in on that when he comes up for you guys, but as we mentioned, you guys have the numbers, and I think that we could probably make something happen pretty quickly if you guys go that route for that.
I have one question on that. I don't know whether you spoke to the gentleman that I went to his house the other day. He told me he was gonna call you, so if he didn't call you, that's fine.
Yeah, no, sir.
But one of the things that he talked about was, there's no access, handicap access to go from sidewalk to sidewalk. So there's no way to get, if you're in a wheelchair or anything like that, you can't get out off of your sidewalk in front of your house. You can't go anywhere because it's a straight drop. And I think you talked about that, and that's something that is required now. Kind of the rumble strip, the little dots, and then it just it's a cutout.
And I have reached out to one contractor to start getting prices on where we can start putting those in. Throughout that neighborhood, there are gonna be a lot of cuts that we need to do, from what they pass along to me without getting the actual quote in hand yet. It's not very costly, the most expensive part are gonna be those rumble strips.
Yeah.
Cause there's just one game for that, that's the only people you gotta.
And I don't know if I'm speaking for all the neighborhoods. You know, I think we need to look at every neighborhood, but most of them that I went in had that. They incorporated it into their plan, but this one, you know, just.
And I think that was something maybe we need to make sure planning and zoning are making sure we're addressing when they're putting in those sidewalks.
That's there.
But now I will say this about Lost Plantation, and Tim might can even help me with this one, but I get mad because, you know, I drive a school bus in there where the sidewalks are on, is where I drive a school bus, and no one's ever running or walking on the sidewalks or on the streets. And when I ask people, why aren't you on the sidewalks? Well, the sidewalks are all uneven and roots, and there's spaces where there's not sidewalks. So joggers and a lot of people don't even use those sidewalks. So I'm just telling you what I know, but and Tim might can tell you if you're riding out there, Josh is gone, people never run or jog on the sidewalks.
And I'm not really concerned about knots and roots, because everybody's got sidewalks that need repair. But what I am concerned about is I've watched his bus drop someone off, and they got off into the ditch.
And went in the ditch and then around the hedges into the street.
Right.
There at Willow Pig
Yeah,
Way.
that's the one I was talking
Yeah.
about, the
It's
hedges that butt up to the street.
It's a bad spot. That hopping off in the ditch, I mean, you already know what the ledge looks like on the bus. And then when you step out, you're stepping out into the ditch. You just go forward. And I watched those kids do that the other day, and I thought, wow, now I understand. But that was on St. Andrews or whatever.
Okay. Board appointments, I think the last board appointment that you guys have to make is for the Board of Public Health. J.C. Park, Shannon has now been tasked with getting some plans together as to what we want to do with that park, and I think she'll be reaching out to some of you that have ideas on that, you know, as to how to make that happen. I think now we're at a point of putting something in place to make that park usable again.
Tim Miller, I would like to see a special needs park at that J.C. Park in front of the library. I think it would be a great thing. There are a lot of special needs individuals in the community, and the state of Georgia does not do a lot for special needs when it comes to recreation. We have it at Heritage Park. I would love to see just that little sliver just made specifically for special needs.
We have, at our new park.
Yeah, and that's why I said at Heritage Park, I know there's some things more in there, and that's great, but, just my input. Thank you.
Just kind of going to the other side here. Sorry, positive economic development plan. You guys had the first reading of the PUD ordinance tonight, so that should be adopted at the next meeting, March the 12th. Water reuse line at the golf course. I got some emails from EMC last week that I'll be sharing with the group, showing, you know, they kind of 7, 8 years ago. They put some numbers together as to how to connect most of the city doing that. And the portion of the golf course that you all talked about, you know, doing some test runs on, is included in that. So I'll send that to you guys, and, you know, if there's, you know, the pleasure of the board, we can adjust those numbers and see what something like that would cost us to put into place at this point.
I did wanna add, I said this in the last meeting, we spoke with an engineer while we were in Atlanta, and he said that there's a lot of money out there, grant money for water reuse. So I wanna go after that. I mean, I think that needs to be a priority that we go after. Our drinking water is so important right now. I know getting rid of that water is important, but not putting our drinking water into the ground is as equally important. So I think looking at, looking at getting someone started on just looking for grants to see where we can pay for some of this would be super.
And we did confirm, Mr. Perkins found that all new developments are supposed to be required to put in that purple pipe. We do have that.
So they're already there.
We do have that in our ordinances now to be.
Well, they're in the ordinances, are we making sure that's actually being done?
Yeah, that's the key.
Terry, do you know that?
I believe we are, but I will double check with Trevor, with our person that does the review of our plans.
Yeah, Windsong Phase 2 is a good example to go
That's right.
check.
They have purple pipe.
There you go.
You either have the option to install the purple pipe, or some municipalities, and I don't know the law, but, they have a reuse ordinance to where you can pay a percentage of what if they're, say it's gonna take $2 million to get the reuse from here to the development, it's not feasible to do that, to pick up 100 houses. So if it's not in proximity to reuse, but y'all have proximity to reuse in the city, if it's in the county, instead of installing the purple pipe so it sits there and it's never used, they pay a percentage to a reuse fund that the city has to work towards and use towards extending reuse to other areas of the city.
And that's right, Mr. Morgan, and it's pretty neat how y'all did it. It says, this ordinance shall not prohibit the developer, builder, and or the owner of the development from entering into a reuse water agreement with the city of Rankin as an alternate means of handling the amount of reclaimed water generated by the development. The agreement shall provide an alternate means of distributing the reclaimed water generated by the development, either through a monetary contribution, which is what Mr. Morgan's talking about, through the use of reclaimed water as irrigation water on a suitable alternate parcel of land, or any other legal means agreed to by the city of Rankin. So I guess it's contemplating, you know, the developer could designate a tract of hayfield or something like that, and you could use your reuse water there.
Yeah, it would be the same no matter where they used it. It reduces our permit, yeah.
Right.
On the reuse too, as we began this years ago, and it didn't get very far, but we're moving it again. And we did some research trying to establish a cost for reuse too. So, you know, that may be a little bit down the line in the process. But when we get to that point, somewhere along there, we're gonna need to start doing some work to establish the cost on the reuse.
Yes, sir. And moving on, Macomber Park revitalization. So it says bids for bathrooms. That's no longer the bathrooms are completed now. We've got Mr. Morgan. I'm so glad he's here tonight. They're looking at how to, you know, kind of lay out some of the stuff, improve some of the drainage out there. Shannon's got a contact that does ball fields, looking at how to make sure the drainage is working properly for what's out there or what needs to be fixed. So we hope to have something more concrete on that very soon going forward. Parks and Rec Master Plan, still preparing that bid, you know, kind of getting the ballpark and getting Shannon on board. I want her to take over that process, so that's gonna be something vital. We have gotten the bids in for the pay and compensation study, so we'll start reviewing those. I think we've got 8 of them in to look at, to come in. Tree ordinance, we were asked to kind of expedite that as part of the UDO process, to have that one of the first ordinances. That and development regulations. I believe Terry has already gotten a draft of the tree ordinance from our consultants, so we're kind of bouncing back and forth at staff level now, so that and the development regulations should be before you all for adoption around May and June. So not too far out to go ahead and get those adopted, so that even though we're working through that UDO, we're already doing things as part of it, so that we're not allowing something to happen now that we're not gonna allow on 10 months when that UDO was adopted. So we're trying to make sure that goes forward. And I'm probably gonna screw this up. Or maybe not.
He's learning.
So there you go. So had and I apologize, she was here, Jody Jones started, the assistant to the city manager, so she's been kind of tasked with getting these things done. So these are some of the completed tasks that we've done recently. Hired a consultant for the UDO, we hired a consultant for the comp plan, we appointed members to the hospital board, planning and zoning, and you all appointed those members to the IDA as well. Completed the sidewalks connecting Patriot Park Playground to the tennis courts. The bathrooms were completed. We hired, it's funny, she wrote down, we hired her. We hired the assistant to the city manager / grant writer, and we hired a code enforcement officer, as well as, let you guys know, we did extend an offer for a clubhouse manager that has been accepted. That person is Ms. Tara Childress. We did a round of interviews with everyone. She stood out to myself and the HR manager to move forward. I'll send you a more detailed email about that tonight or tomorrow. The email would have gone out today, but I figured I would see everyone tonight, and I'll shoot that email out.
Jonathan, I have a question about the code enforcement officer. On the code enforcement officer, does he have like a set route, or, I mean, or you would just throwing him out on the street saying, go look, or how's that?
I can let Terry chime in. When Terry and I kind of did the process, we want him to be proactive and not reactive. So I know if there's a complaint, he's going out to look for it, but he is going around the city, making sure that he's being consistent, and if he notices a problem, we're addressing it, so.
Right, I would say he doesn't have a set route yet, he'll probably get there. Right now, he's trying to just kind of get a feeling, even though he lives in Rincon, he's still trying to just get a feeling for areas. I've asked him to drive through and just kind of note things that may be a violation, come back, look into those, so we will get him to the point where he has kind of a somewhat set route. I
So
mean, I
maybe
don't want
just take
somebody
a-
to know, like, oh,
Yeah.
he's coming by on Tuesday, so.
Right,
you know.
no, take a month though to get
So-
acclimated with driving around the city and seeing things.
I am personally not on Facebook, but I have heard that there's a couple communities on their community Facebook pages that are talking about how much they're not in favor of the new code enforcement person, which means he's out doing his job.
Right.
I mean, let's just be honest, he's out doing his job and exactly what he needs to be doing, and I appreciate Terry and her team getting them moving.
Absolutely.
And that's all I have tonight. I'll sit down now.
Any questions for Mr. Lane? City engineer, Mr. Morgan.
I won't repeat a lot of what was said, but, y'all have the sidewalks for Lost Plantation. I'm gonna meet with Jonathan later this week to kind of look at some things, explain it to him. Y'all can decide. There's an area in there that shows where it is. I had them going in, if you're driving in to the golf course, going to the clubhouse, when you get to Lochner, they're gonna be on your right side, the golf course side. When you get to Willowpeg Way and turn, they're gonna be on the whole 18 side. Go down, cross over at Clubhouse Drive. And then up at Willowpeg and St. Andrews, we'll cross over and go that couple of 100 feet and tie in to the existing sidewalk. And that ditch right there, that's the ditch you were talking about, people jump, we're gonna have to pipe that ditch, because we don't have enough room. But I think from Lochner to Willowpeg Way along St. Andrews, there's enough yard there, and the swales are so subtle, we can come 2 foot off the edge of pavement and put a 5 foot sidewalk in. But we can make those, I was just gonna explain our estimate we did for y'all to him this week. And if y'all have our emails, so if you have any questions or input, feel free to email me directly, no problem.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did you ever go out to Montgomery and look at that one piece of fencing? Do you have that on, do you have your phone? And we took a picture of it?
I was out there with some of council and Mr. Lynn, but I didn't look at the fencing. He
So,
said he
right,
was
it
gonna
has
contact
separated. I talked to you guys about it.
You're talking about the wall.
It's
Right.
on the new side.
You're talking about the
Going-
split face block where the stands are down and
yes.
the and the
Right,
railings
so-
up
The
top.
upper railing.
I've reached out to an architect that's done some work here with the cities and Statesburg, and I haven't gotten any feedback from him. When Mike was here, I took some pictures of it and I sent it to him, and he said he was gonna have to come over here and look at it, because there's a thing on the top of those small retaining walls with split face blocks, it's called a geogrid, and it goes back into the soil and it holds the wall from falling out. So
So this has nothing to do with the retention wall itself, we're talking about the fencing coming
Oh,
up.
the
The
fencing.
railing on the fence is loose, if someone were to lean on it, they could very easily fall into the concrete below, into the stands below.
Oh, you talking about up on the top side?
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
a-
haven't talked to him about that.
So that's,
I was looking
yeah,
at the
that's the
wall.
fence.
Is-
Right, and the
is-
problem is what happened underneath caused it to separate. So,
I get that, but we need to do something to,
right.
Secure.
Is the fence
Secure it.
loose from the concrete, or is the fence just getting loose because it's been?
No, it's
leaned on?
totally
No, it's separated.
separated.
Okay.
We talked, well, you brought that
I'll
up
send
a
it to
while
you.
back.
I was just about to say.
Yeah,
is it-
but
They put it in a screen.
we need to
Yeah, send it,
do
'cause I wanna
something
see it.
permanent to hold it. They had zip ties on it, but, you know, I don't
No.
think zip ties will.
I can look at it and I can get, because that's more of a structural thing, I'm
Yeah.
not structural, but, we'll deal with the concrete and the drainage. But, I'll talk to the guy that helped, with that fencing
Okay.
years ago. But, and add to Macomber, I've completed my site plan estimate for filling
That's not
all the
what's, that's not
concrete
what's on my screen.
in between fields 1 through 4. I'm just going back and trying to find some of our old stuff to make sure that the existing drainage inlets are out there. We can use them. I'll have that to y'all soon. I'm meeting with Mr. Lynn later this week, to talk about the reuse. Like he said, we went back years ago, we did a whole reuse irrigation estimate for certain parts of the city and for the entire golf course. And it started out the same way this kinda did, cause I met with him and Tim and Mr. Key the other day. And we can probably run it on the golf course side on some sections, but we found out years ago that if you do that, you're running twice the number of pipes. If you put it in front of the houses can tie on the front. But if you put it on the back of the houses, you're gonna have double the amount of pipe. So we figured that out years ago, but we got all those estimates, gave them to him, we can look at them, go through them, and pick out whatever, pilot areas, holes, streets that y'all wanna do the reuse. But we're gonna talk about that later this week. All your sidewalk jobs are under construction. Fort Howard is pretty much 90% done. They got some striping, a little bit of grade work. We'll be doing some inspections with them here soon. Me and Terry secured one of the outstanding easements last week on 9th Street. That work will be finished out to Giles on that end. There's one easement we're still missing in the middle that, they're working with that landowner now. And the same guy that's doing both of those projects will be doing Highway 21, and, we've already had our pre-construction meeting with the DOT, and, that should be the next one you should see start popping out the ground. I have found 2 people, I'm waiting on a return call about your lamp post lighting down 21. There's 2 people, Donnie Boyd and Joseph Capella out of Jessup. They did the Blue Mile lighting in Statesburg for their project, and they're the ones that I need to talk to, so when I talk to him, I'll be in touch with you.
Thank you.
Anything else y'all got?
There it is,
Oh, you're talking about the actual.
Yeah, see it right there, how it's totally come.
Yeah, this is the stuff I met with Mike about. There's certain areas where it's separating, and the more it rains, the more water goes down in there, the more it's gonna get worse. So, on this top wall, down in there, there's a series of geogrids that go back that hold that wall up, and I only know that's about enough I know to talk about that. But, we have architects and structural engineers that do that stuff for us, and that's who designed the walls out there when we did that back in '09, so. But no, we can look at that, that's a.
everybody calls that the intersection, but it's 09.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Moore?
Tim Miller, president of Willowpeg HOA. I heard St. Andrews and Willowpeg Way is part of the concrete. What about Marion Road? It is an access road to the clubhouse, and I'll invite anybody down. We can sit out front of my front yard, take a beverage or two, and watch the traffic come down through there. It's not as much as St. Andrews, but I see a lot of cars that do not belong in our neighborhood. I personally have 2 drop points that I drop students off. There's people that walk down that road all the time.
I recently had a FedEx driver come up our road speeding. And again, I know that sidewalks do not get used, even though they're there. But I do recall a council member saying, it takes a liability off the city. I know it's an added expense, but I am begging you to please finish it, because it's gonna look really sad to have all of Lost Plantation finished except for one road. Okay?
Well, and I think, you know, one thing for me, and I'm gonna just say this, you know, we live in that neighborhood, so I live in that neighborhood, and it's not somewhere where, you know, I get it, there's other neighborhoods that do not have some sidewalks and things like that, and I don't want to be the one to say we need to put sidewalks into our neighborhood. But what I will say is that we have an amenity in that neighborhood. The city owns an amenity there. So I just wanna really think about getting to that amenity, how we get there, and know that there's gonna be a lot more traffic there when we complete the things that we're completing. So I agree with you. I would definitely say no go on St. Andrews and Marion Way, if in fact we didn't have the amenity sitting in the middle. But we had that, so I feel a responsibility there to be able to get to that golf course.
So I think the proposal at this point was the main thoroughfare to get into the golf course, to the clubhouse, and to the,
That's
new
right.
restaurant that's coming in.
Right.
That's right, that was the
What
original.
what we have to be really careful of though, Tim, is making sure that we're not setting an expectation in other neighborhoods that we're putting in sidewalks,
I understand.
in areas that we aren't
So
responsible.
let me throw this out there. There are signs that show golf course down St. Andrews, down Willowpeg Way. You know as well as I do, if you're going to Savannah, you're not going on the road that says Savannah 20 miles. You're going the fastest way there. Marion Road is the fastest way there. And like I said, I encourage anybody, just let me know. We'll sit out in the front yard,
I
we'll
think
tell
it's-
stories, and I'll show you the traffic that does come down through there.
I think it's a valid point to make that they are using Marion as the cut through, and maybe we do need to go back and talk about that.
I'm just
a little
asking,
bit
please
further.
take it into consideration.
Sure.
Thank you.
And I think the point too is, cause I'm telling you, Lexington Avenue, there are so many people that walk Lexington Avenue that it's unreal. So I think maybe it's time that, just as, the city, that we go through the whole city and find out where our main traffic pedestrian areas are and make sure we're addressing them first. And, because, you know, like Tim said, I mean, if we've got traffic going to the golf course, you know, that's an issue. You know, there's a ton of people that walk up and down Lexington, and they're not going to the ballpark. It's kids and adults that are walking, that are
To Dollar
going,
General.
they're going to Dollar
Lexington
General
is
in the
tough.
store. I mean, there was a lady that used to take her electric cart to Dollar General, 'cause she didn't have anybody in the house during the day. So I think maybe we need to figure out what all the priorities are and prioritize these sidewalks and start getting them done.
Isn't that part of our master plan?
I hope so. It should be part of the master plan.
All right, Police Department, Chief Merle,
Mayor and council, I'm available for questions.
any questions for Chief Merle? Fire Department, Chief Reed,
Mayor and council, I'm available for any questions.
questions for Chief Reed.
I would just like to make a comment to you, Chief, that I thoroughly appreciate you and what you did with the budget as far as you may not have been able to do the ranking like you had wanted to, but we did not cut any firefighter, and I truly appreciate that.
Oh, one other thing, could you, come up, Chief Reed, and just tell them, what you were kind of pointed to with the NASCAR race?
I've been
Something to be proud of.
I've been at Atlanta Motor Speedway firefighter since 1990. We did it for free, and now we are paid. I got bumped up into the operations chief role with Pit Road Fire Garage and Sunoco. I got the call after the race to go see the executive vice president for our fire chief of Pit Road and everything, resigned after 35 years. He retired, and I was asked to be that chief.
All right, building and zoning, Ms. Lewis.
You do have my report, but I'm gonna talk about it, so, since it's new. So, I put this in everybody's packet, like I promised y'all, even though it's coming at the second, meeting, because we're moving between two softwares. It is different than what you're used to seeing, but I'm hoping it's an easier to read report. I'm certainly open to anything, since we've kind of slimmed it down a little bit, but tried to pull out those kind of main points that I thought y'all would be interested in. So if there's something that you're interested in seeing that you're not seeing on this report, just let me know, and we'll incorporate it in, so.
Any questions from Ms., I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, because my next thing isn't the report, so.
Okay.
The other thing I want to do is, we went ahead and talked about how we have the joint meeting on March 18th, but prior to that, from 4 to 6:30 on the 18th, we're going to have a open house for the UDO. So it's gonna be here in, council chambers. We're doing it from 4 to 6:30, so then we have time to kind of reset the room up to get ready for that joint meeting. We're gonna be putting stuff out on the new app, our website, Facebook, everything we can do to get people here to be able to comment on it.
Try to screen share again, let's.
Okay.
That starts at 4 p.m.?
Yes, 4 to 6:30. So yes, please let people know. Our consultants are gonna be here. They're gonna have boards. They're gonna talk about the survey that people can do. So.
There will be a link on the app when it goes live.
This is Citizen Central, right?
Yeah, and then it's got a link to everything people need to know about the UDO, when meetings are, how they take place. You can see the schedule, the timeline. There'll be a map that you can go in and leave a comment. Like if you have an issue on a map, you can go in and leave your comment at that location. So that'll all be something that you can be accessible through the map. We'll put the comp plan on there just like that. So I just figured now that it's shared, but it will be live. So.
Yes.
Any questions from Ms. Lewis?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, Mr. Goals?
I have nothing to report.
Any questions from Mr. Goals?
The sinkhole, what do you think?
He's going to
Looks like a sewer lateral to me from the picture John gave.
So y'all haven't been over there yet?
We was tied up on a lift station all day, so I didn't get a chance to get over there. We
Yeah.
did it first thing in the morning.
Okay.
All right.
9th Street lift station was down most of the weekend, and the bypass pump finally gave out, so I had to rent another pump to set up in there to keep it pumped down. May get some complaints about noise, but there's nothing we can do about the pump running. Can't let the lift station run. As soon as we get the electric pumps back, we'll drop them in.
Well, just tell them, you want your toilet flush?
Oh, it'll flush. It'll just go out the creek and we'll get fined by the
The end user will never know.
All right. Rankin Golf Course,
I'm open for any questions, anybody has anything?
any questions from Mr. Moore?
Mr. Moore, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
You are, currently, you're looking at sprigging when for the greens?
Hopefully, April, it depends on the Champion company, cause that's the only place we can get any sprigs. So we're only doing 9,000 square feet, so they will not come and sprig it just for us, so they have to have something else in the area.
Okay.
So we're kinda stuck with their scheduling, but I'm hoping in April.
And then maybe in the summer, we should be really looking.
Yes, sir. We should at least, a month and a half to be growed in and have some better greens.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
The Masters.
So did I.
Any other questions from Mr. Moore? All right, anything from council?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Sure.
I was gonna say, we're looking forward to getting a new GM on board, and, thank y'all for getting her and interviewing her, and just, we're looking forward with Joe and Childress, hopefully looking forward to take this place somewhere.
Hey, I had a question for you.
Oh, me?
Oh, so you stood up.
I stood up, I know.
Yeah.
Not a stood
No,
up.
no, I just wanted, because I have not made my way into the restaurant area.
Yeah, oh,
And
my,
I
it
just
is
wanted
gorgeous.
y'all to give an update on how that looks.
It is gorgeous. I'm so impressed, and they're drywalled yesterday, they're in the process of painting the inside. They put new windows in to service the outdoor bar. The windows look gorgeous, I'm jealous. And, everything's going great. They put a big porch and patio on the side, and then we'll
So
paint
it's
that. It's cool.
nice.
Yes, I'm excited. Except we'll have food back in, be fat again. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christie. Anything from council?
I would like to, since we talked about sidewalks and stuff, and I know the ditch and stuff y'all talking about with Tim's kids and the issues out there. And I talked at the last meeting too about the needs of some crosswalks on 9th Street. And Jonathan, maybe you can address this, is how do we as, a municipality go about determining exactly where we need to get these crosswalks in at? To me, Tim drives Fort Howard too, I think we need some crosswalks on Fort Howard Road. I know we need them on 9th Street. I know that, now we're talking about sidewalks needed on Marion. I know that, Lexington Avenue probably needs some. Is there a priority list already out there for sidewalks? Do we have any other sidewalks we're looking at?
No, ma'am, I don't know I know the priority list when I got on board were 9th Street and Fort Howard, and I think portions of Highway 21, which are all underway or about to be underway. I know we put, you all allocated, I think $1 million, maybe the number, maybe higher, in our T-SPLOST that was renewed, for sidewalks, but it wasn't designated to any one location. So I think that we can kind of hit the priority areas when somebody says, I'm not exactly sure, but we can find out. There's a threshold for crosswalks, it's in the manual of uniform traffic control devices, where once you hit a certain threshold for a speed limit, they really discourage you putting a crosswalk in there so that people that are going 55 miles an hour, they're gonna blow right through that crosswalk. But in areas where the speed limit has been reduced, those crosswalks are very beneficial. I have asked Chief Merle to start looking at all the speed limits in the city for our roads to see if there's anywhere that we can drop it down and still maintain their enforcement presence. Because once you get to certain thresholds, radar becomes, there's an inability or prohibition for using radar, and there's certain speed limits. So we're kind of looking at all that right now, but there's no list in place yet.
Well, I think I think we're becoming a younger community, and young families like to get out and walk and move about, and we've got to be cognizant of that. But so I would just like for us to look at this a little bit closer. And I know Ben, we talked about Fort Howard Road.
Fort Howard Road is what I was gonna bring up. We all discussed that while we was in Atlanta about the speed limit, even though most of it is 45 miles an hour, except for the extreme ends where it drops down to 35. They see 45, they're gonna do 55, and it's hard for some of these residents in the neighborhoods like Williamsburg, Lost Plantation, Stonewall, Reese Pines to even get out of their subdivision without getting broadsided coming out, because people are going 55 miles an hour. And I know the Rankin Police patrol up and down, but they can't be there 24/7, so that's one I was looking at least to lower it to 35. That way, they still gonna go 45,
Yeah, but maybe not 55.
But not 55. And there, if we get it to 35, then we can do the crosswalk as Ms. Underwood was mentioning.
For Fort Howard?
For Fort Howard.
Oh my gosh, that's crawling.
Well,
if you live over there, you're trying to get out of your neighborhood, it's a
If you live
racetrack.
over there, you can't get out.
Yeah.
I can't get out, and you have to jump into the middle lane and sit and wait on cars and just
Aren't
wait.
these things though that should be talked about and part of a plan, and citizens provide their feedback on it?
No, I wanna talk about it now. I mean, this is
We
mayor
can
and
talk
council.
about-
I wanna be able to ask the question. There's nothing wrong with
No,
asking
I'm
the question.
saying that before we wouldn't just automatically
No,
approve it. to
no,
talk
no,
about
no,
it.
no,
No, we're just talking about it. That's
We're
what
just
this
talking
time's about.
And if the chief has started his study, that would be a good point to.
It's definitely something we need to address all the time. We need to figure out.
We gotta figure out.
So we can update the radar permit all.
Right, yeah.
Well,
Because with the speed, driving our vehicles now, if you got Waze on or something and you driving up Fort Howard and you get to the elementary school, it's gonna say, speed trap ahead. But it's not active except when the lights are flashing, so, that's the other thing, you know.
It's not school zone.
Yeah, the school zone. It
Reduce
says speed
speed.
trap. I hit it today and it said, Waze said speed trap. That's what it says.
Yeah.
I mean.
You can mark whatever. So somebody's-
That's just the way they programmed it, yeah.
So,
Jonathan, what about the trucks, the right lane only on the trucks? Is that something that
We are prepared for that question tonight.
good.
So, and Ben can get into it, but we adopted state standards. I reached out to DOT asking for signs. We can go ahead and enforce it now if we wanted to. We do have an ordinance.
Yes.
I have asked DOT if if they can put up signs. I've not gotten orders back yet. So.
And before you start, Ben, we've actually already started issuing more.
There you go.
Oh, really?
Is it right lane only now?
That's what state law says, yeah. On any
But we just never,
We
we
just
just never
don't
had the
enforce it.
signs.
Okay, I'm a truck driver.
Yeah.
This is where I've been in the last 6 years. Pretty much everywhere. A lot of municipalities have left lane only because you want to keep the trucks in the left lane if they're going through the town. You know, so that's something that I would consider first is a lot of times on the interstates. California, it's right 2 lanes only on interstates. And I know we're not talking about interstates here, but a lot of times, how many local deliveries do you have here? Kroger, Walmart, you know, the different businesses, but the logging trucks,
Yeah.
they're not stopping anywhere in Rincon. And it's safer and more efficient to just keep them in the left lane moving.
Well,
Personally,
it's
I'd
state
You know,
rather than
no, I
go
know, I'm
around.
just saying, like,
So we
I'd
do
rather
have to
than not go
consider.
through.
what?
I'd rather them not come through Rincon.
That's a good idea too.
Well, and you,
But,
and
you
you know
know-
what, Michelle, you're right about that because, I mean, but if you're a truck driver,
Yeah.
and you are,
Yeah.
why would you wanna stop at 10 red lights trying to get through the city
I
instead
don't
of
want
go
to.
around Old Augusta?
I don't want to, but whenever I go through any kind of like small city and stuff like that, for
Right.
one, it's more efficient for me to be in the left lane and it's safer.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you get a small car turning right in front of you, they don't realize how heavy you are.
What about a route that bypasses you around?
Oh, I would take it every time.
Every time.
Every time I take a bypass route, absolutely.
And we can't call it a bypass route, but I mean, and we can't direct people that way right now, but.
I take
And then they
routes
can't park with it.
sometimes way out of the way, because if I'm doing 75 on an interstate, even though it's not the direct route, I'm saving so much time. And
Yeah.
it's time for me, I don't get paid per mile.
That's right.
It's time, you know, I get paid per
So-
day, no matter what I do.
What they're saying is we adopted what's already in place at the
Yeah,
state,
no, I
because
know.
Highway 21 is a state DOT road.
Sure.
Um,
No, I get that, I get it. I'm
So
just saying
that's why
sometimes.
they adopted that one.
I got just another dumb question. Why is it 35 in that one little area on 21, near the school?
Schools
Oh, you're talking about here?
Like right in front of where the city
When you
is?
turn
Yeah,
right,
yeah, it's like
that's the only
35, it
one?
goes,
When you turn right on 21 on Fort Howard.
it goes 45, 35, 45 again. In front, right here where we're at.
Right, have you, I want
It's
you to
all-
go.
it's been that way since.
35 all the way to
It's
the
35 all the way to the
all the way
viaduct.
to the north end
Right,
of town.
from the viaduct
From the
to
viaduct. Yeah,
To-
once you cross over the.
Fort
viaduct.
Howard, right?
Have you ever
No.
tried
No,
to get
past
out
that.
of Weisenbaker Road on
Yeah.
21 when it's
Oh, my
prime
gosh.
traffic?
Yes.
Oh.
I live
That's
near
another
McCumber
one.
Park, and I don't take that one first, I don't know what,
I
Ninth Street?
can answer that one. So when
Very
DOT,
hard.
when DOT sets their speed limits, it's all based on maneuvers, where people are turning left, what streets have red lights, how many traffic patterns. They have a whole calculation to make that happen.
As a driver, what I see is most of the, not most, some of the traffic here is self-inflicted. People in the roundabouts, I love roundabouts, but nobody knows how to use them. When you're in the roundabout, use your turn signal indicating which exit you're gonna take, because the next person anticipating your move, I love roundabouts. I don't slow down at all for them,
John,
blast right through them, so.
Thank you.
Thank
Sure.
you.
one other thing, when can we anticipate the sidewalk funding from the developers, from our development agreement? For Greenland? I didn't,
No, and I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, that's why I'm laughing. The last conversation I had with the rep from Greenland, he said the check was on his desk. That was about 2 weeks ago. I have not seen that check yet. But that check will come in from every CO that's issued. So it's not gonna be one lump sum, it'll be for Cold Summit when it goes in, for the building that's being built now. We'll get that money, and I'll absolutely let you guys know when that happens. I don't know if
So
they
we
want
got-
any pomp and circumstance associated with it, but yes, we are getting it. So.
Anything else from other council members?
Mr. Mayor, council, I noticed that, Recreation Department wasn't here, but I wanna thank you guys for the opportunity, for Patriot Park. 2 weeks ago, you guys approved me to do the concrete work. 2 days later, the concrete work was completed. So I don't know if you've been out there or not, but you can check it out. So.
He does a great job. I think somebody put their footprint in it.
I was about to say, he stepped on it to make sure we knew it was his.
No.
And then go back.
It would've been a little deeper if I stepped on it, but, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, I didn't know where that was going. I didn't know where that was
Nothing else done.
All right, do we have a need for an executive session?
Yes, sir, I think we have personnel and litigation to discuss.
Okay, we have a need for an executive session, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
If you wanna get that signed.
Have a motion by Mr. Blackwell, second by Mr. Exley, to go into executive session, discuss personnel, litigation, concerning client privilege. Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
See you, Tim. Hey, call me in the morning when you're done. Call me in the morning after you go over there.
Testing anyway.
This is there.